let's just finish off the Peiros Sheviis that you bring the Chutz La'aretz. What was the last issue we left off with? The Chazon Ish, right? So how do you answer that?
How's that?
Well, the question is what was the question? Yeah, the question of this. Okay, so Tosfos says that, and what was the case? Rav Safra brought wine to Chutz La'aretz. Right, he brought wine to Chutz La'aretz. Okay, yeah. The question was, so Tosfos says a weird thing. Tosfos says, it must have been he brought it for schora and not for la'achla. So the Chazon Ish is bothered beyond belief by that, and he flips it around to say, no, it must be that he brought it out for achla and not for schora. Okay,
but then he sold it after.
Right. Now I'm not. Now I'll be honest with you. I'm not really interested in defining the Chazon Ish. I don't know what his position is. But I want to know.
Understands Tosos somehow.
Right, but exactly. But I think there's a way to. I'm not sure why you understood Tosos that way, but I have a simple answer based on what we said yesterday about why Tosos specifically says the schora is not a problem. Based on what we said yesterday, the whole problem of taking out Peiros Sheviis is what? Zehiros, right?
Yeah,
Zehiros, right? A person's got to be zahir, and he's got to be careful in his shmira of the mitzvah.
So selling it must take away the.
Well, why does Zehiros not include schora? That's the question. Why would Zehiros not include that? I'm clear that's what he said. You're going to have to say, plug in the svara. What would Tosfos say to the Chazon Ish's kasha? What would he say? But I would respond. So Yaakov wants to say that why don't you have to worry about it, because you can assume the other Jew will take care of it. But 1 second. But whatever. But if he took it out la'achla to begin with, right? That would have been a problem. Isn't that just another la'achla?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tosfos.
I'm talking within Tosfos.
I mean original Tosfos.
The original Tosfos. I am talking about original Tosfos.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that still be la'achla though?
What do you mean?
Okay, so let's say I take it out to sell.
No, it's not.
I think it removes the original Zehiros.
Okay, now we're talking.
From the first Misa.
But I want to make sure you understand the question. There's the question. Okay, based on what we were saying, that's why I'm not so. I don't know why the Chazon Ish is so bothered by this. Well, I think I do. I think I know what the Chazon Ish is bothered by. I'll posit my theory, but I'll get that in a second. Now, Tosfos is saying that this. Tosfos is saying that if I go ahead and I take my stuff out of the achla, I'll be over the isser. If I do the schara, I'm not. Right. But 1 second, by selling it, aren't I ensuring that another person's la'achla? Is that like kind of related to the same thing? What are you going to do if I sell you the fruits? What are you going to do with the fruits? Eat them, right? So isn't that fruit? I know it's a horrible way to put it. Isn't that fruit from the poisonous tree? Get it?
Here we go.
Yeah. So that's what Ezra's saying also. Ezra's saying that what you must say is that schora is not a violation of Zehiros, right? It's only achla, right? Okay, is that enough to say?
Why?
Why what? This is getting to nuances and methodology, okay? Yeah. But there's two ways Ezra can go at this point that your mind can take you on. One way you could say is that schora by definition is not an issue of Zehiros.
I'm
just saying logically you could say it's one way. Or the other way you could say is that no, it's too far removed from the issue of Zehiros. Meaning that when I do la'achla, because remember we're dealing with the Rabbanan here. So when it's la'achla, right? So la'achla, what are you worried about? The guy's not going to take care of it when it comes to beer, right? But the question is, by schora, it's true that I'm going to sell to someone else who's going to use it for la'achla. But the question is, that's already
that has nothing to do with you.
Well, it's right. Meaning that it's too far removed from the issue of Zehiros. Right, exactly. That's the other way you can go. Right. So I think that's the better way to go. But you have two logical ways. I wouldn't be like if someone posited as far to say that really it's that schora is. I mean, you have to prove why, but it's not. You're right. But I'm saying, but I can see that being a possible road. So just as an idea, in methodology is an important thing. When you hit the point now where it's almost an experimental thing, but you test the svar out. So a lot of times you'll hit these points where there's two logical roads you can go down, and then the question is why do you choose one over the other? So like you're saying, I can't disprove to say that schora is not an idea as Zehiros. I can't say it's wrong, but now you have to. You're creating for yourself like it's more complex. How are you going to define it now? You got to come up with a reason why that should be the case. But it's easier to say that schora is more removed because there's another step involved. I agree. No, you're right. I agree to some extent.
Yeah.
Are there ever any cases?
Now let's get back to this. Okay. So now, with that said, so just get a little practicality here. So what do we do? What do we do today? All right, what do we do today insofar as taking out produce to Chutz La'aretz? So first of all, what do we passing like Tosfos or Ivan?
What was the question? How can you do this?
I think I feel like
that. What's that? Let me respond to Yaakov first. So Yaakov's question is how the Chazon Ish. So I know what you're asking. So the Chazon Ish must have been convinced of something strongly to force himself to say Tosos held to rewrite Tosos to say it's Tosos from, right? So what was he so bothered by? What would you say? This is a little tougher. He must have had a different svara than Tosfos, obviously. The way we're learning Tosfos. It could be. It's good. So it could be the Chazon Ish is saying like this. It could be the Chazon Ish is saying that the only time you're over the Isser, you can't be over the Isser if you're bringing it out to eat. Why? Because that's part of the very.
Right.
That's what you do with Shemitah fruits, right? That's what you do with them. You're supposed to eat them. It's only a problem if I do what?
So.
Which means, like you say, I'm commoditizing it. Forget the amount. I'm saying the point is, my intention is to commoditize the thing.
Why should I forget the amount?
What?
Why should I forget?
Because it doesn't matter what the amount is. It's what his intention is. It goes by what his intention is. This whole thing is a question of his intention, right? It's not a question of what he does. It's a question of what his intention is, right? So if his intention is to commoditize it, that's a violation of Kedusha Sheviis, right? But the only problem with that
There's
is
still a blanket ban on taking it.
there is. Oh, no. Dad, I didn't really want to work out the Chazon Ish, but I hear what you're saying. But the only question, well, what question should you ask on that though? So Yaakov wants to posit and Ezra. They want to posit the following. What's the Isser? The Isser is to take out the produce with the intention of schora. Because why is that a problem? That's a problem in general. But then what's the
problem in general? What does that mean?
There's a general problem with Sheviis fruit to commoditize it. You're not allowed to commoditize it.
Right.
So this guy, what is he doing? He's bringing it outside of Eretz Yisrael to commoditize it, right?
So
but what question you have to ask on the Chazon Ish?
And then sold it later.
What?
What if you brought it out to eat and changed your mind halfway?
But what's the Isser? We already have an Isser. You can't commoditize produce.
I forgot about this. Sir.
Yeah. So wait. So what does that have to do with Eretz Yisrael? What does that? What does that have to do with Eretz Yisrael? That's what I have to ask on that.
Right.
There's nothing to do with Eretz Yisrael.
Bringing it back. That's what we're talking.
Yeah, exactly right. What does that have to do with Eretz Yisrael? It's a general problem with commoditizing. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't want to get too caught up in it. Well, so meaning that if I bring out if you guys take out oranges from Chutz La'aretz, from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz, right? So the halacha is right. So listen to this. So he brings down this dude here is good. He says, I like this guy. He says, "Also lahotzi Peiros Sheviis l'Chutz La'aretz." Okay, bein b'shvil limkor bein mishal lechol. So that takes away one issue. Then he says, "V'yesh matirin b'shas atchak liyotze lechol lakachas tzeda laderach mi Peiros Sheviis." Okay, so there's one heter he has. Well, I'll tell you what that means in a second. Good, as soon as you thought that way, I'll tell you what it means in a second. Well, what's Seda? Seda Laderech. Okay, true, but it also means something else. It's from the Torah. Seda Laderech. Sadi. What's he bringing out? Well, what's he? Work it out from context. B'shas etzchak. In a time of need, liyotze l'chutz la'aretz, l'kachatz Seda Laderech in Peiros Sheviis. He's taking X to the road that's from Peiros Sheviis. Because when you go traveling, what do you take with you?
A food to eat.
A snack, sustenance. So he quotes here that this is according to Rav Wazner who lives in Bnei Brak now, and Rav Eliashiv. They both want to say that if you're taking out like a whatever, let's say a zucchini, and your intention is to eat it on the plane, right? They hold it's mutter. What do you think about that?
It's not taking out. Makes sense.
No, I think that's legit.
Right.
That's okay.
It's okay, right?
Well, then you're for sure getting.
The fruit doesn't become asur when you bring it out of Eretz Yisrael. Okay, but you're still over the asur. We paskin that you have to do beer back in Eretz Yisrael, and also according to Rav Yashiv, if you
no Isser of taking the snack.
right, it seems that way. So that's the most important nafkamina. So if you guys, when you guys go back to America, you decide you want to bring with you a carrot, right? But I would imagine, I don't know, but I would say though he would argue that you would have to eat it.
All of it.
Right. Well, yeah.
What do you do with the salt?
You have to treat it like you have to let it rot.
Let it rot.
Yeah, I would argue you have to treat it like seder. I mean, you have to actually eat it. Let's say on the plane. You know what I mean? Like you can't do a harama here. If you bring it on the plane, you'd have to eat on the plane. Right. You can't save it for later. What? No, harama is like trickery. I use that word all the time. Harama.
Mirma.
Like, yeah, Mirma.